NW1, indirect income, and FPR2 employee income. On the opening side, we have HKUST1. On the open income, DESH, DESH3 on the closing income. Our motion for this evening is that this House will end all fiscal austerity measures and increase government spending. And I'm Jonathan, we have Chair Chappell and Santiago on the panel today. And I'd like to begin the debate by calling on the Prime Minister for the Equal Supervision.
donates the nation for us. They are a little different way, but working for something like that. And then so we think by taking this plan, government have nation, and then more side of future in the country. And then so we agree this motion. Go.
Are you talking about that the government should be spending only the area that was affected, or in Japan as a whole?
Not Japan.
I'm just confused about which country are you planning to impose this?
It's a developed country, but the natural disaster would happen. You think, and so the second argument is about natural nation habitat, and the government's the most important task is help the nation's happy life, and then so because the analogy is clear, and so the government help nation, and then so they get so government government keeps the nation happy because it is one of the tasks, and racking of money in the victims area is like they're racking of money trap, and so it means the parents do not have enough money, so the children cannot get enough educated, and then so children can earn a lot of money, and then so it is a trap, it's very seriousness. So we need some plan to solve the problem, and so we agree this motion. Thank you.
I thank the Prime Minister for his speech. I now call the Constitution section.
Firstly, I would like to rebut the points of the Prime Minister. Basically, they did not mention a clear model about which country they're referring to, since the economic situation in Europe is quite different from the situation and the policies that are in fact in the USA. And it's just simply said developed countries which face natural disasters, but they fail to mention how serious this natural disaster was, whether if it's only affected in a certain area, does that justify a nationwide policy to end all fiscal austerity measures and increase government spending instead? So with this situation, going to go on to my point about why increasing government spending in a country where there's so much debt and stagflation, which means the economic growth is quite slow and unemployment is quite high, and the situation of the amount of imports will be more expensive and exports will not be worth that much in relative terms. And yes.
Well, since U.S. will bring more money and investors money into domestic markets, they can produce more goods and definitely the price of goods won't increase and inflation won't.
But think about it. How much China is probably one of the USA's biggest trade partners. They have so many goods imported from China, and yet they keep complaining about how the USA exports are suffering, and they claim that China is being unfair by having a lower exchange rate. It should increase the exchange rate. So clearly, supplying more money and which leads to inflation is not an option. The other option would be to borrow more money. There is a clear problem with this as it leads to a vicious cycle. You borrow more money, that means you owe more money. Where is this money all going to come from? So increasing government spending is not an option for the USA at this moment. We agree that increasing government spending on infrastructure would have a long-term effect. It would perhaps boost employment, could boost economic growth, but that is a long-term effect. We have to look at the current situation in the USA. They simply cannot afford more spending and austerity measures, which means that saving money is the only option for the USA right now, because you cannot ignore the current crisis that the USA is currently facing. Also, you talked about government spending in terms of increasing the welfare benefits. Increasing welfare, another aspect of government spending would be increasing welfare benefits. But again, this is a problem. The welfare benefits in the US they have a pretty good welfare system. So this would not, in fact, increase productivity and stimulate growth, because unemployed people would rather just remain unemployed than working hard to earn, because by receiving such benefits, they are already, they would just prefer that. They can just sit at home, be lazy, and receive pension without having to do anything. So this does not stimulate growth or productivity in any way, and if it would increase
ways. And first one is paying back all its national debt, and second one is giving money to the natural disaster victims who are in emergency. And we have to think about the possibility to achieve it's the best to pay back all national debt, but it's not possible because we government have too much national debt. So the possible way to achieve nations happy life is giving money to the national disaster victims. Because we are, no, thank you, we are in emergency. So then I'd like to show one more argument that is after France, nations start to work harder. Under the status quo, people don't trust in the government because the government has too much national debt, and so the government don't help some victims. But after transaction, people start to realize the importance of government because the government helps the victim, so they are in bad economic situation. And then people who are helped by the government start get more motivation to work, and all people in the country become more cooperative. So even though in short term, to think in short term, there are too much national debt. To see in long term, people start to work harder, so it's justifiable. So this plan is very good, not only short term but also in long term. We can achieve nations happy life, and we can raise people's motivation to work. And for all these reasons, I will propose. Thank you.
I thank the Deputy Prime Minister for her speech. I now call the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, William Chair.
Thank you emergency situation, like Japan facing a earthquake. But please bear in mind that we are talking about government spending on government aid. If there's a large-scale natural disaster occurs, other countries will definitely automatically provide aid to those countries without expecting to return from that country. It's not the same as government spending or government borrowing. We think in this sense, the natural disaster is a very extreme case in this motion. And we hope then I'll move on to my two rebuttals. Move on to my two arguments. The first one is the feasibility of such a motion, and the second one is the future benefit to the citizens. Okay. Before we really discuss about this motion, let's examine its feasibility. Is it feasible and practical for a country to remove all its fiscal austerity policies and increase spending? As my leader of opposition has already mentioned, first they have no money. They will borrow from other countries, from other banks, and then it is impossible for a single country to improve their spending without any monetary. First of all, what if the only country increase their spending, they will face international influence from other countries, because they will go bankrupt. Because as a situation like Greece, the government is spending a large sum of money on its welfare, and then they cannot pay it back. So the government will go bankruptcy in 2 months without an aid from other countries. They'll face international influence from other countries, that they'll be forced to have a physical austerity policy. And what if all the countries remove all physical austerity policies and then increase their spending? It is impossible because all the country. It is impossible because. Yes.
If you think by austerity you can solve the debt problem, what part of the economy will to get money from by austerity?
I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. Okay, my second point is for the benefit of the citizens. The government side has mentioned a lot that increasing spending and removing the austerity policy it is because for the benefit of the citizens. Yes, it is for the benefit. It may be for the benefit of the current citizens, but it's certainly not for the benefit of its future citizens. Let's imagine a situation where you spend all of your money now, and the country, the nation increases spending. The money will just go and go, and one day other countries who lend money to that country will ask them back because they think we cannot benefit from the country, and they think you will not pay back the interest, you will not pay the principal. In that sense, they will ask back their money. But the problem is that your future and the country in the future will not have the money to pay back, and then they either implement austerity policy at that time, and at that time their future citizens will be influenced by this policy. Or they'll just claim a bankruptcy, and that is also not for the future benefits of the citizens.
government spending or increase the taxes levied on mass public or decreasing the spending on infrastructure, Medicare, and so forth. They believe by saving those part of money, they will finally pay back all their debts, Greece have or the US has. And we think that their assumption that if we don't do authority, we can only print more money or borrow more money. I would say borrow more money is temporary, and it will in long term, finally, by increasing the government spending, we'll finally have the debts paid, which I will elaborate that in my extension. Well, I will firstly talk about their idea that austerities can work. We think austerities will generally restrict the economic development because you kind of you reduce money in the medical care, public education. More importantly, you will relate taxes on mass publics, and we think that those taxes raised will make entrepreneurs be less incentivized to carry out their own business and cause a lot of imbalance in big corporations and small business as well. Your point.
Do you really think that taxing the rich would make them have less incentive to invest when they're already so rich?
I mean, what austerity was carried out was not about, since they didn't even give that definition, it was not about taxing rich people only. It's about bringing the tax as a whole to make sure that there will be more money generated to government to pay back their debts. That's kind of like direct money application. And we think that look at the United States and they mentioned Japan. They have a lot of good corporations like Apple and Sony. We think those corporations have money devoted in development and research. Levy tax on rich corporations or rich people or all those type, they will of course be they will of course have less budget in developing those. We think that will harm the economy because the corporations don't have much economic freedom in terms of contributing to the industry as a whole. And also, we think that those small and mini corporations, small and mini businesses, they will feel much pressure from those taxes. In the long run, we think only get rid of all those, and then those businesses will prosper, and the whole economy gets better. Can those countries really have money to pay back their debts? So we think. But our alternative is much better measure to take.
Currently, Warren Buffett stated openly that the tax he pays is less than the secretary. So how can you say that taxing the rich would not be appropriate when they already earn so much, and it would just take a slightly more proportion if we increase taxes on the rich?
I think that you are mainly stressing on we are not tax rich. Even if so, they are double taxed because their salary is really less because they mostly have salaries in terms of share stock price. So they don't have actual cashes to get those taxes from. So increase that a little money, taxes will be really less. And we think that it will actually make them less really happy about entrepreneurs happy about those endings. And by the Buffett is very individual and extreme example. I will tell you about carry out I will give my constructive speech that the beauty of the structure, which is is the biggest portion in government spending, will bring a lot of benefits, much more benefits than austerity, because especially disaster, even though there was no disaster, all the anyway, those countries need to build roads, railways, and airports and so on. So those public projects directly create a huge number of jobs, because you need huge demand for working forces, and the job opportunities provide when you have employment, and largely showing the status quo that a lot of countries are having. Because look at Occupy movement, that people really are blaming government on the unemployment. We think that this by giving them that job opportunities, they will have more peaceful environment to build economic construction. And as well, we think that government will have that power to allocate resources very efficiently and effectively. And we think that they can directly provide a lot of job opportunities. And my second section is that government spending is huge an important form of government fulfilling its responsibility to serve people. For example, you need to give public educations, and if you do any authority on that, you will quickly undermine the role that the government promises to serve the people. We are proud to propose.
I thank the government member for his speech. I now call the member legal.
Hello, Mr. Speaker and everybody in this house. I'm a member of question, and before I begin my speech, I will introduce my outline. The word about my previous speaker is included my arguments, and so I will give you our two arguments in summary. Our first argument is welfare sickness. The government's increased spending, it means the government promotes welfare and expand welfare price range. But this can be linked to welfare sickness. Welfare sickness is people want free charge, so they do not work hard. So it's simply leads to growing unemployment. It's naturally because if we have money in some region, and after that they can get money easily from government, they have no reason to work hard. And I had, for example, Spain and Greece, Italy, and Iceland. They all were in finance emergence because of excessive government outgoing. It's a real outcome of excessive government spending. And our second argument is strength, free, and originality. The government spending austerity. So this is not also not good to social development. Yeah. In summary, our first argument is welfare status. Well, government, if governments increase their spending, it can be connected by growing unemployment, and it can be lead to financial emergency. And our second argument is restraints about persons free and originality, and it too can be not good to social development, and it can violate persons free and can obstruct social development. So for that reason, we strongly oppose this issue. Thanks for listening.
Could you please look on the side over the corner where it's big and one up there?
Okay, good evening, member of the House. As I want to give some rebuttal. So first rebuttal is give to the lower house. This is that if we do not have this fiscal austerity and still leave high tax on those people, and those people they will feel very stressful in their life, and they must work very hard to make a living and to contribute to the social development. But I found that it's not true. First, if you leave high tax, as my members have mentioned, this will decrease, it discourages those people to decrease their profit, decrease their wages, and give them less money to expand and develop themselves. In long term, it will be harmful. And so we also found that those people will feel very unfair because they give so much money to the government, but the government will not care about the future development. And finally, the social development won't be good. And second, the rebuttal against the example raised by the upper house. As they found that they believe that those countries do not have the ability to pay back monies. They raise the example as US, and they believe that the US have two ways. One is to borrow money, second is printing money. I have mentioned that printing money firstly will not cause high inflation to that countries. And they then say that the printing money will cause exchange rates fluctuation and hurt China. But in their example, it seems that they stand for the US. If US can survive and develop, it expects to hurt China temporarily. I think it's worthwhile. It's good for US to take this proposal, and they do not prove that in long term the whole world's economy will be harmed. And we think that this kind of action is just temporarily, and we temporarily save this society and develop our economy in long term.
We never said that austerity measures would be permanent. They can be short term.
Okay. But I think you provide this one very late. Okay, next let me summarize today's debate. Today's debate literally faced two problems. First is the development versus short-term development. And actually, opposite sides always only care about the short-term development, and our sides care more about the long-term development. And I will justify why our long-term benefits can overcome the short-term. For the natural disasters, short-termly, our Prime Minister is very humanity, as we provide saving, we provide houses, food to those people, and they feel happier. Those people who are saved in the disasters is different from those people who enjoy a very high standard social welfare, and they feel very appreciated to the society and the government, and they will work hard. But the opposition discard about their benefits later. And next, let's talk about the natural economic disaster. We can draw a conclusion that actually nowadays a lot of systems suffer from this debt crisis, and the economic environment in the whole world is very bad. And also opposition sides care about is how those countries bears a large amount of national bonds and debts to pay back their money. And their alternative is just use fiscal austerity and cut government spending. They believe that by saving money we can pay back this kind of debt. But my member has mentioned that saving cannot meet all the debt, since the debt also charges interest and will increase. Thus we should be more attention to the future long-term development. And currently we can end all the fiscal austerity measures and stimulate the development of our economic and trying to create money in the future. That's why we always believe that the government should increase government spending, especially in terms of infrastructure building, education, and taxation. Infrastructure building, as our members mentioned, this will create more jobs and help the more people to earn the wages and increase the total production of the society as a whole. Later. And also, and the second is trying to invest in education. Because education is so important, that not just with those people who create the
before I speech my argument, I will say about online. I will reaffirm our team stance and make team stance and previous two speakers. So first, our team stance is this policy makes nations to be worse. So and then I will prove this argument through real example. So for example, let's look about the Greece. So Greece has very many welfare policy, but Greece give people to money and welfare and house. So it is constantly it is fair. Greece shares their remains to get to solve bankruptcy. So another example is Spain. In Spain, social parliament come into power nowadays. So they also do socialism, welfare system. So it links to this policy.
Greece example come from the huge project inside the government which cannot be legally treated as a government spending. Greece problem come from corruption, not just a huge government spending. Corruption or bribery.
I understand. So next, I will revert the opening argument. So they said this policy makes people work hard. They give motivation to work hard. But it is unfair. As my previous speaker said, many welfare policy makes people lazy. It is people didn't want they want to get money from the government. So
We think it is depends on the reason who people need money for systems.
but in this motion, the government increase the spending. It means that your government it is non-national, I think. And next. Our flash point is will future citizens be happy through this motion? So government says that through this policy, future citizens will be happy. But our side is through if this policy is passed, but it caused the crisis of nation. And then
economy. Rather, government spending is better to cover the economy.
But I think that increasing government spending means that current rate is current money supply rate is very high. So it is clear that is down. So prices high. So because inflation, because as my previous opening option. So we think that this policy is not acceptable for this world. Look at this world. Look at our world. So many financial crises is all over there. So, for example, Lehman Brothers accident and Spain and Greece's people, that it is too early to do this policy. So we strongly oppose to this motion. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your speech. I